Okay, good morning, everybody. We start the last story of Sefer Shoftim. It's 3 chapters, so one of the longest stories in the book, and maybe one of the saddest in the Bible, the most hard, I don't know how to say, shocking, hard, I don't know, terrible stories in the Bible.
What chapter?
We are chapter 19. And I will tell you just in 2 words the story generally, what's happened, and then some questions that we should discuss, and then we start learning it from vis-a-vis, right, in the verses. So generally the story is about a man and the woman that went back to their home. They happened to have to stay in a city that called Giv'ah, that belongs to Sefer Binyamin, to Shevet Binyamin, to the tribe of Binyamin. In the night, people came, demanded to rape him and her. It's not very clear. We'll speak about that, to do them something bad. And in the end, the man pushes she wasn't his wife, she was in concubine, but his couple. He pushed her away outside of the house. They raped her during the whole night. And when he wake up in the morning and went out, he found her lying in the entrance of the house, apparently still alive, not very clear, but she died in the end. He cut her body for 12 pieces, sent all over the land of Israel, and said, look what the people of Binyamin did to my wife, well, couple. And so Am Israel demanded of the tribe of Binyamin, the rest of the tribe demanded the tribe of Binyamin to punish the people that did that, and they refused and started a war between Binyamin and the rest of Am Israel. In the first 2 days of the war, Am Israel lost the battle. So the rest of the tribes, the 10 tribes, lost the battle to the tribe of Binyamin. In the third one, finally Am Israel beated them. Defeated, how do you say, beat or defeat? Both. And beat in the past, it beat. So Am Israel beat and defeat tribe of Binyamin. The story also tells us that Am Israel made a promise, a vow, that they would not marry, nobody would marry the tribe of Binyamin, people of the tribe of Binyamin. So the tribe of Binyamin was in danger, in risk, to be totally lost. And then there were several solutions for that. In the end, the promise or the vow was cancelled, but there was 2 solutions. One, they should kidnap women that went to dance in the vineyard of Shiloh, and also there was one city, Yavesh Gilad, that didn't come to help Am Israel, so they took the women or something like that. We will see that in the end. So it's not a very, I don't say, politically correct solutions to this problem. All right, so again, it's a very shocking, horrible story, starting from the beginning, from the rape and the torture during the whole night, and then the war between brothers, and then the promise not to get married with Binyamin, and then the solutions that were made. All of those looks really bad. And all come, according to Mefarshim, Abarbanel and Otros and others, from the first sentence that appears several times in the chapter. I mean, it appears also in the former chapter and in this one, Vayamim Haem en Melech b'Yisrael. In these days, there was no king in Israel. And all of that, as we say, as a conclusion to the period of the judge, there's no king, and as an introduction to the next book, Sefer Shmuel, when we start learning about the kings of Am Yisrael. So it's in between, it's showing us all of the bad that we had in this time, and the necessity, the need to bring, to have a king for Am Yisrael, or at least leadership that we lead it, Am Yisrael in the right way. When there's no leadership, there's no organization, can very bad things may happen. Even though a king is also not the best solution. All right, so it's also a problem. Okay, returning to the topic, we have to discuss here several things. Maybe the first we already answered. What's caused Am Yisrael to arrive to this law, to this level of sins and such and horrible things? So we already spoke about it several times, or about all the time of the Shoftim, the lack of connection with Eretz Israel, the lack of connection with Hashem, and the lack of union inside Am Yisrael. All these factors together lead to this chaotic situation. So that's what we'd say. So several things we must more that we have to see. Is there someone who is the guilty here? The man, the woman. We'll see why there may be also some of the guilt should be them. There's the tribe of Benjamin, the rest of the tribes. Who is a problematic factor here? And maybe the conclusion that everybody had his part, right? When something really bad happened, it's not only one person that is guilty of that. There is a sentence in Hebrew that says, no, maybe it's English also, the success has many fathers, and the failure is orphan? Orphan. You say that also in English? Yeah. Orphan, yeah. So it's really also sometimes the opposite, right? That people the sentence says that people look for the glory of the success and run away from the failure. But the reality is that such a situation is not only the guilt of one factor. It must be several or different problems that lead to this situation. Another point that the Mefarshim speaks about is the comparison with the story of Sodom in Sefer Bereshit. Very, very similar story. Also in the general things that happen, generally the stories are similar. Over there also, people came and demanded that the guest should be, that the host should give them the guest to torture them, and the host tried to defend, and so this is very similar. And that also, when you read that with details, many of the words and the terms that the Bible uses are the same. It uses many times the same terms, the same words. So the question here is about this comparison. Really, Am Yisrael is like Sodom, because the punishment of Sodom was to disappear forever. And Am Yisrael, even though it was very bad consequences to this action, it wasn't a destruction. And also, we should say, really, if really it's the same level. There are some other questions about the details. Am Yisrael asks the Urim and Tumim if to go a question about the war, and it looks like the answer of the Urim and Tumim wasn't accurate. So it's a question, because Urim and Tumim are considered the voice of Hashem. So what Hashem, not that he made a mistake, but did Hashem wanted them to make mistake, or how do we explain that? And why Am Yisrael lost in the first 2 days? It's another question that Mefarshim ask. It looks like the Binyamin are the bad guys, and Am Yisrael are the good guys that want to revenge what they did, or to take price, because it's not possible to let people do such things. You must react to that. So Am Yisrael react. It looks like they are just and correct in reacting to this horrible action. So why did they lost?
There's a possibility because they were fighters, Benjamin. They were known for being fighters, and they were left-handed, which meant they carried their shields on the different sides of their body. And if they got into a battle, the other ones who used to fighting somebody were right-handed, left-handed men, and they knew how to fight against the right-handed.
This is technical answer, which may be correct. I'm asking about the moral answer. How come that Hashem let Binyamin, who were the bad people in the story, to defeat Am Yisrael that were the good guys? That's the question, right? So technically, how it's possible? There may be many answers. They say that also Binyamin, not only it was left-handed, that they knew how to use arrows, so they have a distance advantage. They could fight from distance. We'll see about that. Okay, so these are the general introduction, and now we start learning and try to see what we can learn from this horrible story. So he say in those days when there was no king in Israel, in Hebrew that the word when doesn't appear. In those days, there was no king in Israel. That is how it says in Hebrew. A certain Levite residing on the other end of the hill country of Ephraim took to himself a concubine from Bethlehem in Judah. So these three places, we have three places or three tribes. We have tribe Levi, Har Ephraim, Mount of Ephraim, or hill country of Ephraim, and Bethlehem Yehuda. Three of them appears in the former chapters, in the story of Micha and in the story of Shimshon. So these are central places here, and it's not by accident, of course. It's not randomly. But maybe before that, another point that I have to explain, what does it mean, concubine? I don't know exactly how you use this word today. I guess it's someone that is not legally married to, and sometimes it's a secret woman, right? This is a definition of that. The one who's the real wife doesn't know about that. This is not the definition of the word in the Bible. Pilegesh, in according to the halacha, there are several opinions about the exact definition, but it's a committed woman or woman that you are committed to her, she committed to you, but without formal wedding. It's not what today maybe we would call known in the public or something like that. A couple that is not, there is a term like that in Canada, legal term? Common law, yeah, common law. So it's something like that. Meaning that it doesn't require formal divorce to separate, but they are a couple, right? It's not something secret or something like that. This is usually the definition of Pilegesh. So he had this kind, and halachically, today we don't do that. We don't allow that, so people do that anyway. But if you ask a rabbi, he would say don't do that. But in the Bible, apparently it was more common. Together with not getting married with two women and other stuff, there are some kind of progress, I would say, in the relationship, in the allowed relationship in Judaism today. But in this time, we are talking about a couple that wasn't married formally, so there are opinions that it's without ketubah. You are not writing ketubah, you're not committed to pay if you separate or something like that, but they are committed to each other morally or something like that, right? So this is the definition of pilegesh, concubine in this case. So she was from Yehuda, he was from Ephraim, and he was Levi. In the story of Micha, also the Levi lived in Yehuda, Bethlehem Yehuda, moved to Ephraim to the house of Micha, and he was Levi. So they have the three tribes. So these three tribes, Levi, Yehuda, and Ephraim, are the leadership of Am Yisrael. So Yehuda is the king, Ephraim, the son of Yosef, who was also the leader. There was also a tension or conflict between Yehuda and Yosef. So who's going to be the leader? The sons of Leah and the sons of Rachel. And also Yoshua bin Nun, the leader after Moshe Rabbeinu, was from the tribe of Levi, was from the tribe of Ephraim. So Ephraim and Yehuda are the two tribes that should be, or the leadership of Am Yisrael should come from them. So the fact that they are involved here, it's even though Yehuda here is like minor position, he doesn't do anything. It's just a place where she lived, right? But she is the wife. It's also, we say that the mother of Shimshon was from the tribe of Yehuda, right? So Yehuda here, it doesn't take like the front place, it's talking the rear place, right? The back place. It's not in the front, and this is maybe one of the mistakes. Levi, of course, is the spiritual leadership of Am Yisrael. So the fact that Levi was the priest for Micha, and here it was the one who was involved in all this story, it's again showing us that also the tribe of Levi didn't fulfill his mission as a spiritual leader of Am Yisrael. So we have these three tribes here, and but in all the story, not like the former story, names are not mentioned. There's no one name in this story. It says Levi, someone from the tribe of Levi, some woman from Yehuda living in Ephraim. It doesn't mention names, so we'll see it as symbolic figures, right? People that represent the idea of the tribes it's also a real story, right? But it's also showing us how this happened. So also the geography we should understand. Ephraim, let's say, start from Yehuda. Bethlehem Yehuda is south to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Right, a little bit. It's like 5 minutes today in car, but it's south from Jerusalem. We'd say it's like a few hours walking. Few hours walking. Let's say from the old city of Jerusalem and Bethlehem, it's few hours walking. And then a little bit north from them, we have the tribe of Binyamin. So it's Yehuda, after that Binyamin. So in Binyamin, we have Yerushalayim, which in this time was called Yevus. And near that, a little bit north from Jerusalem, so a few more hours walking. It's important because of the story, the hours that I said. We have Geva and Ramah. Giv'ah and Ramah, the two cities of the tribe of Binyamin. And if you continue walking a few hours more, or even a day or two, you will arrive to the mountain of Ephraim. So Yehuda is the south, after that Binyamin, after that Ephraim. So this is the order. So he was living in Yarketer Ephraim in the north, not very north, but all in the middle, in the center mountain of the land of Israel. He was living relatively north. He took a woman from Bethlehem Yehuda. Why from there? Maybe in Bethlehem Yehuda, we saw the Levi was from there. Apparently he has family there. There was a big family of Levi in this son. And he took this wife from there and lived in Ephraim. Once his concubine deserted him. What does it mean, deserted? How do you translate it? I mean, how do you explain this word?
To desert?
It says D-E-C-E-R-T-E-D, desert. Left him? Depart from him. Okay, so the Hebrew word is tizne. Vatizne alav pilagsho. Usually we translate tizne that he was unloyal. Isha zona is, well, there are different definitions for that, but in this context, it would be understood as was unloyal to him. So we also see the moral standards of the times. But Mefarshim say that it's not meaning really unloyalty, I mean sexual unloyalty, but she like it's translated here, she left him, or she did something bad, not necessarily unloyalty, and he was very angry on her. She was afraid, or she didn't like him anymore, or she didn't want. Since it's only a concubine and not a wife, she just left. She just lived him for her father's house in Bethlehem in Judah. So she returned to her house. As she stayed there a full 4 months. So they were separated for 4 months. And then he decided that he's missing her. So that may be one of the reasons they explain it wasn't really unloyalty, because in this case, it wasn't sure that it will be allowed to return. But in this case, he said, you know what, I forgive her, I want her back. Then her husband, it's translated as husband, but it's not real husband, it's a couple, set out with an attendant and a pair of donkeys, and went after her to woo her and to win her back. She admitted him into her father's house, meaning she accepted that he wanted to return to her. She admitted her to her father's house. And when the young woman's father saw him, he received him warmly. So she was young. In Hebrew, it doesn't say young woman, it says na'ara. Na'ara is usually young woman. So her father was happy for him. Apparently, he was an important person, or he was happy that his girl is with him. So he accepted him to his house. His father-in-law, the young woman's father, pressed him. It says in Hebrew, "Vayachazek bo," hold him. And he stayed with him 3 days. They ate and drank and lodged there. So he was so happy he was there that he convinced him to stay there for 3 days. So we are now in the 4th day. Early in the morning of the 4th day, he started to leave. But the young woman's father said to his son-in-law, eat something to give you strength, then you can leave. So the two of them sat down and they feasted together. The two of them, who is missing? The girl. She was just an instrument. They just like each other. They just eating or respect each other. She was just an instrument. He wanted her back, but she's just left aside, right? The first time she's ignored. Then the young woman's father said to the man, won't you stay overnight and enjoy yourself? Why, we already ate and drank a little bit. Let's stay another day. So the man started to leave, but his father-in-law kept urging him until he turned back and spent the night there. Early in the morning of the fifth day, he was about to leave, when the young woman's father said, come, have a bite. The two of them ate, again, the two of them, dwelling until past noon. So they eat and drink and feel very comfortable with each other.
So he was thinking that his daughter was going to come again to sit with the table. He tried to hold him.
He tried to hold him as much as he can.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, all these details looks a little bit strange. Why did the Bible tell us all that? There is a technical reason, because what he wants to say is that in the fifth day, they left very late. So in the fifth day, he insisted, no, I'm going. I'm not staying anymore with you. You are just tempting me to drink all the day. I want to go, right? So I want to go and I'm going. So maybe this is the reason. So it explains so much details, but still it's look a little bit strange that it would say so much details about something like that. It could have said, and he stayed until afternoon, and then he left, without explaining too much why he left so late. Maybe it's a contradiction or the opposite way of the people that Binyamin behaved about hosting people. While those nobody wanted to host him, here we can see that the standards in Bethlehem Yehuda and also the standards in Har Ephraim, we are going to see later, were different. So Binyamin was the one who was very closed to open to other people, while the other tribes were very friendly. So Ephraim and Yehuda were more pleasant and nice to other people. So again, they ate in the second day. So we are already in the fifth day, right? 3 days, fourth day, fifth day. Then the man, his concubine, and his attendant started to leave. We have another attendant also. His father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, look, the day is waning towards evening. Do stop for the night. See, the day is declining. Spend the night here and enjoy yourself. You can start early tomorrow on your journey and head for home. Just about the declining, what does it mean the day is declining? They lived according to the sun, basically. When the sun go out, it's morning. When the sun passes the middle of the sky, it's afternoon. It's the day is going to its end. And of course, when the sun set down. So they passed the middle of the day, when the sun is in the middle of the sky. He told him, you know what, you already drank, you already ate, it's past noon, you should stay another day. But that was too much to this person, and he said, but the man refused to stay for the night. He set out and traveled as far as the vicinity of Yevus, that is Jerusalem. So Jerusalem was called later. In that moment, it still was Yevus, meaning a non-Jewish city. When Jerusalem became Jerusalem, when Yevus became Jerusalem, in the days of David. In the beginning of Sefer Yoshua, we saw that the city of Jerusalem, not in the city, in the middle, was one of the 5 cities that went against Yoshua, and they lost. But Am Israel didn't take her. After that, in the book of Shoftim, in the beginning, we read that also again Jerusalem was defeated. We talked about that in Sefer Yoshua, in the beginning of Sefer Yoshua, and Sefer Shoftim. So Jerusalem was destroyed several times before being Jerusalem. But still, Am Yisrael didn't take the place, and the Yevusim returned to the place. And who was living right now there? I don't know if it's the beginning of the time, was the time of the Shoftim. In the middle, there are different opinions, as we said, but it's not a Jewish city. So they walk from Bethlehem Yehuda to the north. After a few hours, they arrive near Jerusalem. So that is Jerusalem. He had with him, and then the night arrived, right? They already went the afternoon, few hours, it's already night. He had with him a pair of laden donkeys, and his concubine was with him. Since they were close to Yevus, and the day was very far spent, the attendant said to his master, let us turn aside to this town of the Yevusim and spend the night in it. So let's do the night there. But the master said to him, we will not turn aside to a town of aliens. Aliens meaning non-Jews. Well, not of Israel, but will continue to Gibeah. So let's go a few more hours, even though it's already almost night, but we will continue a little bit north and we will arrive to the place called Gibeah. Gibeah meaning the hill, where there are Jews. Who are the Jews there? The tribe of Benjamin. Come, he said to his attendant, let us approach one of those places and spend the night either in Gibeah or in Ramah. Shmuel, that we will read about him in the next story, and in the next book, came from the Ramah. Shmuel Aramati, he was called. So he came from Ramah.
They didn't want to go to non-Jewish city because wasn't safe, no?
It doesn't
They
say
were-
because it wasn't safe,
They were
maybe
there.
because the food is not kosher,
Oh,
maybe there's no modesty in the streets. I don't know, they're not Jews. We would always prefer Jews, wouldn't us? It's a problem, wouldn't we? It looks like that, right? But it's going to cost, in this case, it was a big mistake, a huge
Yeah.
mistake.
Hmm.
So they traveled on, and the sun set when they were near Gibeah of Binyamin, not near Ramah, near Gibeah. They said, let's see where we arrive. Gibeah, Ramah, they were near Gibeah. They said, let's go there. So they turned off there and went in to spend the night in Gibeah. So they weren't in this time Airbnb, they couldn't find any hotel, something like that. What was expected in this time, like we said, we are going to place where there are Jews, that someone will invite them to their home. But nobody did that. He went and sat down in the town square, but nobody took them indoors to spend the night. So everybody saw them, right? It's in the afternoon, the night, people go back from work. Nobody is bothered to invite them as it was common in this time, as it was the right thing to do. So the whole city, nobody speak apart from one person. And by accident or not by accident, he is not from the tribe of Benjamin. So in the evening, an old man came along from his property outside the town. The man hailed from the hill country of Ephraim and resided at Gibeah, where the locals were Benjamin.
He lived
Okay.
outside the city.
No, he came from outside the city. He walked in the outside of the city, but he lived in the city. He was from the tribe of Ephraim. So the only person that wasn't Binyamin, from the tribe of Binyamin, the city was from Ar Ephraim, and he was the only one who was inviting them. What we can see from that again,
Like Lot and Sodom.
tribe of Binyamin, yeah, just exactly like Lot and Sodom. And in Sodom, nobody invite people to the house. It's against the law, right? And only Lot invited them to the home. Also here, only the only person that is not from the tribe of Benjamin, he is the one who is inviting them to his home. So he happened to notice the wayfarer meaning the one who walking, right? In the town square, where the old man inquired, are you going to, and where do you come from? So first of all, he asked him, where are you going to and where are you come from?
Hmm.
So he replied, we are traveling from Bethlehem in Yehuda to the other end of the hill country of Ephraim. That is where I live. I made a journey to Bethlehem of Yehuda, and now I'm on my way to the house of God. House of God. What is the house of God?
Michal,
In this time, it should be Shiloh.
Shiloh.
Shiloh, also in Binyamin. So apparently what it looks here in from this story is that he meant to go through the Mishkan. So again, Ephraim is north, is more than north. And in the tribe of Binyamin, we have Gibeah, Ramah, Shiloh. All these places are in Binyamin. So he said, if I already here, I will go through the Mishkan, tabernacle, that was in this time in Shiloh, and then I will go home. What we can see from that, why is it's mentioned that we're going to the house of God. Maybe he was going to make some kind of sacrifice. Maybe he made a vow that if she return with me, I will give a korban todah or something like that. Anyway, we see that this man has strong religious feeling, or that he's religious. I would say in this way. Maybe similar to the Levi of Micha, who was also religious. We saw that he mentioned the name of God. He was a grandson of Moshe Rabbeinu. So maybe, I don't know, in parentheses, it tells us a big secret. Religious people also can do bad things. Meaning that having good relationship with God wouldn't prevent you from making mistake if you are not implementing these values in your real life. So you can be very, very dedicated to the religion, but not really a good person. It's not always come together. You should work hard that this relationship with God will be translated in your real life to be also a ethical or moral person. So he said, I was going to go to the house of God, and nobody has taken me indoors. So we are just here in the street. We don't know what to do. He said, actually, I don't ask for anything from the people. We have both bruised straw, bruised, it said?
Yeah.
Bruised straw and feed for our donkeys, and bread and wine for me and your handmaid, and for the attendant with your servants. What does it mean, your handmaid? It's like a polite way to speak. I'm your handmaid. I'm your servant, right? It's like a polite way. It's like saying sir, ma'am, right? So he said, we have everything. And for the attendant with your servants, we lack nothing. We only thing that we lack is a place to sleep, right? I'm not asking anything more. Rest easy, says the old man. Let me take care of all your needs. Do not on any count spend the night in the square. So, and it took him to, it wasn't only speaking, it took him to his home, and he took him into his house. He mixed fodder for the donkeys, then they bathed their feet and ate and drank. This is very similar to what? To Lot, Avraham and Lot, right? They invited the angels to the house, wash their feet. So it's mentioned here the same way it's mentioned in Sefer Bereshit. While they were enjoying themselves, I'm not sure that enjoying themselves, it's metivim et libam, meaning eating usually. While they were eating, the townsmen, depraved Lot, what?
Yeah.
Meaning bad people.
Yeah. A bad group of people.
The bad group of people, the gangster of the town, right, had gathered about the house and were pounding on the door. They called to the aged owner of the house, bring out that man who's come into your house so that we can be intimate with him. It doesn't say the word intimate in Hebrew, maybe because there's no word like that in Hebrew. It says vaneda'enu. Neda'enu meaning we will know him. But know in the biblical way, many times meaning having a relationship, or in this case, violation, rape. Who were these people? It says, Anshe Ha'ir, Anshe Bnei Belial. The people of the city, the people who are depraved lot, right? At least according to Ramban, it weren't all the people of the city. There was a group of people, maybe, I don't know, a group of criminals or something like that, but it wasn't the whole city. Unlike Sodom, where all the city. We'll talk about the differences, but this is something that we should notice. It's not the whole city. But what is the problem here? If it's not the whole city, where are the rest of the city? First of all, we saw that the rest of the city, nobody invited them. And then nobody is standing and saying, hey, children, you cannot behave like that. They leave them alone, right? They let in the bad factor in the society to behave the way they want. So even if it's not the whole city is responsible. How do you let this anarchy being in the streets? How do you let people rape and violence and use violence and threat people from the city? So nobody says something. What?
Well, one of the reasons they didn't take him in was the fact that they were afraid that these people would come to their door and demand, and
Yeah.
it was in those days, as it is today.
But you must take risks.
It's your own guest. It was a terrible thing if your guest was dishonored in some way and he came from your house. And they didn't want to have that happen to them. So they left them laying out. And
so you say they didn't invite them because they were afraid that people are going to threaten them. Maybe, but exactly that's the point. Everybody wants to keep himself and nobody cares for the society. So your city became a place where people cannot visit, where nobody can invite other people. So you become Sodom.
Yeah, well,
So
the old man said they shouldn't stay in that square.
Yeah.
So it was like warning them. It was like a warning.
A warning that they're going to hurt him.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, the old man maybe is the only good guy in the story. Maybe. I'm not sure because he also did something wrong. We'll see about it shortly. But what I'm trying to say is that not necessarily all the city were doing the bad things for themselves, but all the city is guilty. All the responsibility is for all the city, because even though it's only a group of people, nobody else was invited him, nobody else was trying to stop them, nobody said a word, nobody spoke up, everybody was silent, everybody taking care for himself, and you let the bad guys control the streets of the city. So now they are there, they are demanding the man. They didn't say the woman. They didn't say bring us a woman. They say bring us a man, which is worse, of course, right? It's not only rape. It's not only just forcing a group of people of one person. It's a man, which is additionally also homosexuality, or I don't know. It's something that it's not, of course, allowed in the Torah. So the owner of the house went out and said to them, please, my friends, do not commit such a wrong. Since this fellow has entered my house, like Joe say, when you are inviting something to your house, you're responsible for him. So it's a shame that he's in my house, I must protect him. So do not perpetrate this outrage. So this is, speaking nicely, it's not good enough. He want to make an offer, similarly to what Lot said. Look, here is my virgin daughter and his concubine. So we have a trade. I will give you 2 women, you will give up 1 man. Let me bring them out to you. Use them, do what you like to them, but don't do these outrageous things to this fellow. So I said he almost was a perfect guy. This sentence ruined it all. Is it an offer that you should make?
No.
So what is thought? What is thought? He thought maybe, first of all, the man maybe is more respectful than the women, maybe. Second, raping a man is worse than raping a woman. He also may think that maybe if it would be 2 women, maybe they can speak them out from that, or I don't know, make it a little bit worse. Very many, maybe you can find some kind of excuses why this would be better to do, to send the women and not the men. Still, it's not something that you would do. I think it's a bad decision. There is a question, a lucky question. What happens if there are a group of Jews in a house, and the Goyim say to them, send us one of you, we will kill him, or we'll kill you all. Unfortunately, this was a question in the Shoah, in the Holocaust, several times. But this is a question. So they didn't ask for someone specific. They asked generally, just let us, so you have to choose someone. What is halacha? It's better that all will be killed and you don't choose one to sacrifice for the other. If there was someone that did something wrong in the group, even though it doesn't deserve to death, maybe you can. But if you just say, we want to kill 1 Jew, give us one of you. You cannot say he takes that and don't take that. In this case also, you wouldn't say, well, I don't want you to rape the man, rape the woman, right? It's not something that should be done. But this generous offer wasn't accepted, but the others would not listen to him. So the man seized his concubine and pushed her out to them. So it's another one. So first of all, the old man maybe only wanted to talk them out from it. He doesn't say that he did anything. He didn't push his daughter. But this man, the husband or the couple, the man of the couple, he took her and looks like he forced her. It says, "Vayachazek ha'esh." He sees
There's
her.
no good people there.
Yeah, so he gave her away by force. He forced her to go out. So they raped her and abused her all night long until morning. And they let her go when dawn broke. So she wasn't dead in this time. Toward morning, the woman came back, and as it was growing light, she collapsed at the entrance of the very house where her husband was. What? He wasn't looking from the window to see when she returned? He wasn't stressed to see what's happening? She was coming to there. He was just there in the house. We're going to see later. He was sleeping. How can you sleep in such situation, right? It's impossible. It said after that in the morning, so he woke up in the morning. apparently she could arrive to the house, she could walk, so she could knock the house, but nobody hears. Everybody was sleeping, and nobody heard her, and nobody was scared. Or I mean, we saved ourselves. It's worked. Apparently, when they took her out, even though they didn't agree, these people, they say, they just got her and they start celebrating, right? But when she came back, nobody was there waiting for her. So all the way, it's not written, it's not described in a negative way. It's like in a very cold, technical way, the description. But from the words, you understand how horrible was the person, right? This man, this husband, was a horrible person, right? Apparently, it was for a reason that she left him in the beginning, right? And then now we can see he pushed her, sacrificed her for himself. He doesn't take care, he doesn't try to find out what happened to her, and he's going to sleep in this situation. So he came out in the morning, it's continue, right? When her husband arose in the morning, he opened the doors of the house and went out to continue his journey. He doesn't say he went out to look for her. He thought he's going to go away, to leave her there. I don't know. I don't want her anymore. I don't know what's happened with her. I don't care. I just want to go back home. So he opened the door on the house and went out to continue his journey. And there was a woman, his concubine, lying at the entrance of the house with her hands on the threshold, meaning she was knocking. And when he opened, apparently she fell in the threshold, in the entrance of the door. Yeah.
Bottom of the door.
So what would be his reaction? Oh, my wife, my dear wife, get up, he said to her, let us go. But there was no reply. I don't know if she already was dead or was going to die. So the man placed her on the donkey and set out for home.
She was the fact that she was in such a condition, if she was just abused sexually, it's one thing, but they must have tortured her.
Yeah, that's what it says in Hebrew. In Hebrew, it says the word torture.
Oh,
Abused her, it translated here as abused her, but in Hebrew it says Ya'anua, they tortured her. So it wasn't a nice, you know that when it's a gruppal rape, it can bring a woman to die. I mean, if it's many people, it can bring you to die. But yeah, apparently it was more than only a rape. It was very.
If he had any guts, he would have not thrown his wife out there, but he would have gone out to the men himself with a knife.
And do whatever, yeah, fight for your life. And if you die, you die. But he sacrificed her. He wasn't care. He saw her in that situation. He said, let's go, woman. Right? And when he saw that he's not answering, then he took her. Apparently, or she died in that moment, or in the night, or in the way, or when he ride home. Anyway, in the end, she died. Sorry. Let's finish the chapter just. When he came home, he picked up a knife and took hold of his concubine and cut her up limb by limb into 12 parts. He sent them throughout the territory of Israel, meaning including the tribe of Benjamin. And everyone who saw it cried out, never has such a thing happened or been seen from the day the Israelim came out from the land of Egypt or to this day. Put your mind to this, take counsel and decide. We must do something. So this action, it could provoke the interest of everybody. Was shocked by that and say, we cannot continue, we cannot just leave it away. We must react to that situation. We must do something. Okay? Well, this is the first part of the story. Bezrat Hashem is going to be continued. Continuation.
I have
Yeah.
a question. The Hebrew word for the bad people here.
Yeah.
Bible says, my Bible here says it's the children of Belial.
Yeah, Belial, Bnei Belial. Belial, it's in Hebrew, it's not a person. Belial is without and is useless. I would say, translate today, useless people. So it's a term in Hebrew, Bnei Belial. It appears also, the same term appears in the story of Sodom. The same story in other places in the Bible. It uses this word, Bnei Belial. I think if I'm not wrong, also in the story of Avimelech, it says that Anshe Belial who came with him. In general, terms that mean useless people, but you can be useless but harmless. This is not the case. It's harmful people, useless, harmful people. Okay, this is the translate of this term. Okay. Well,
Nice day, everybody.
thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Rabbi Tal.